Hello YouTube, this is Shirley426, and today we have the review of the newly released Master Grade Mobile Ginn from Gundam Seed. Now this is basically one of those mass production type units that we've seen in the series, and I'm really happy that it released. Now for the record, now this kit actually released yesterday, which was a Saturday in Korea at Gundam Base. So I am aware that certain people already got theirs before that, but just wanted to point out that in Korea, or like for me, it was officially yesterday. Alright, so as I mentioned, this is a mass production mobile suit. The quality of the plastic, the quality of the build is pretty much what you expect. It's pretty much the same level as the previous Master Grade Zaku Warrior series. So yeah, I would like to mention that there's no polycaps in this kit. That's very good, and it's pretty much what you expect from a mass production type mobile suit. And it also uses the mass production type inner frame, which is actually something some people were disappointed about, but still, this is actually, according to a friend of mine, it was not exactly Bandai's full choice. They actually did a survey, and people wanted that frame. They didn't really care. According to the survey, people basically, in the conclusion, they didn't care too much on how much detail there is on the frame, so which is why these type of frames has now started to come out. Anyway, let's get on to the review. So first of all, what you get, of course, is obviously the mobile suit itself. And currently, hand-wise, I am using the fist hands. We get the nice backpack over there. And yeah, pretty much your standard, mobile suit out there. So everything you see here is all color-separated pieces. So there is only one sticker, and I will point out that right now. There was only one sticker, and that was the mono eye. Only one pink sticker, and that's it. Everything you see here is all color-separated pieces, so that's very nice. Very happy about that. And then here we have a sticker decal sheet. So we have all these zap symbols, we have all these numbers. I guess I could have put a 426 and some extra stuff, but once again, I wanted to show you guys how the kit looks like when you didn't apply anything on there. So that's that. And here are the components. So first of all, other than your fist hands, we get 3 more hands right over here. So we get a trigger finger hand. We get 1 for each hand for left and right. So that's 2. That's very nice. And here we have the multi-purpose hands, but these hands are going to be used for the sword or the missile launchers on the back, which I will explain later. And then here we have the fully open hands for posing. So once again, we get each hand. So you get 4 hands in total, 4 sets of hands in total for each left and right. And then here we have the missile launchers right over here. Now they may look like, the orange sections may look like it can pop out, but no, it doesn't have a pop out gimmick. But we have, this is where you actually connect to the leg. So there's this peg here, you connect it to the hole where the leg is, and you're good to go. But unexpectedly, now we've only seen these, being held on the legs, but mostly by certain variants. But still, the extra gimmick they put in here is that, and I don't really remember in the anime series they actually, the Moses holding it like this, but we can pull this section out and then reveals a handle, and you can actually hold the handle with the multi-purpose hand. So yeah, kind of a interesting gimmick, but yeah. Although I don't really remember seeing it in the anime, just wanted to point that out. I'm just going to leave it here. And here we have the machine gun. Yet I believe, if I remember correctly, these are the machine guns that actually shoot live rounds, so that's good. So they did a pretty good job here, and you can actually detach the magazine right over here. So if you want to do some reloading poses, you are able to do so. And we actually get more magazines with a magazine holder, and each of these can be popped out, so that's very cool. This is something we haven't seen too often. I mean, I guess the Jester does count because he does have 3 extra slots, but that goes into the side skirts. But this is actually a separate thing, so that's actually very cool. And then here we have this. Oh, actually, no, it doesn't go onto the side skirt. I believe it goes onto the arm. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, for the Jester. And here we have the sword. I was actually really excited to see the sword. So the silver here is kind of I don't think it's just a bland gray color. It's slightly metallic, so not too metallic, but you kind of get that extra glossy look going on here, so it's good enough. So definitely loving the way how the sword looks. And as you can see, there is a peg here, so that which you can store onto the side skirts, and the end tip of the handle is a color separated pieces. So yeah, they did a pretty good job on the color separating process. Alright, so now let's get into the articulations here. Oh, actually, before we go into the articulation, there's one more thing I need to mention. Sorry about that. So obviously we have some leftover parts. Well, it's not too much, but there is some leftover parts. So let's go on there one by one. So here we have the C plate. This is from, as far as I know, if I remember correctly, this is from the Zaku Warrior line. Here we have the waist section right over here, and then we have the body top section here, and then we got more extra joints, and here we have the action-based connector. So that's that. Nothing too special about that. And then we get two D plates because of, you know, reasons. So I believe this one is also from the Zaku Warrior because it does mention the it does mention the Zap frame, but still, as far as I remember, based on the color and the design, I believe these were also the leg parts for the Zaku Warrior as well. So pretty neat. Because yeah, there is a lot of similar parts, but I believe in terms of the legs in certain areas, they did use slightly different designs, but still, you get the idea. So, and I definitely thought, like, I don't think it's really necessary for me to bring out the Zaku Warrior because they're technically very different mobile suits. Of course, they may share the inner frame, but that's pretty much it. Alright, so now we get on to the articulation. So let's start with the head. Now I really like the way how they did the head. Now usually what we would expect from these type of designs is that the white section would be like some sort of, they will only do partial of the white section and then the rest would be like a water slide, or would be like require stickers or something, or we would have to paint it. But as you can see, all the white sections on the head as well is a color separated piece. So I am very happy for that as well. So let me just readjust the camera a little bit. There we go. So the head articulation is pretty good. You can go down a lot and then up pretty good as well. Whoa, something just happened with the camera. So that's that. And then 360 twist is possible. Despite the big fin, it doesn't really bother you. Now, as you know, for those who've seen the series, this is also a mono eye mobile suit. So how do you move the mono eye? Now, unlike the Zaku 2.0, that's not the way how it is. You have to basically pull out the helmet, the top section like that, and then it reveals the mono eye. As I mentioned, the mono eye, the pink section is the only sticker on this kit, and then if you want to, you have to move the mono eye manually like that, and then reattach it. What I also like about is that there is a front clear visor on the top and the front, so that I am really happy about that small detail. Because there are certain mobile suits that, you know, are mono eye, but they don't actually provide the front like clear piece visor. So that's pretty cool. Alright, so we've seen the head. Now let's get the main body. Now the main body is pretty standard. You can open the cockpit very easily. It's a fairly simple looking cockpit, and then it reveals the random pilot inside there. So for those who know now how Bandai works, you can definitely expect a lot of premium Bandai variants with this base mobile suit as well. So that's that. And then the main body, let me just go over here. So just wanted to point out the connection between the waist and the hip here, right over here, is actually a single ball joint. So when I was building this, it actually went inside pretty easily, but now it's not coming out that easily. So yeah, just wanted to point that out. So for the body, we have a nice ab crunch going on here. You can see a nice ab crunch, and then we also have a side-to-side movement here. So there is a side-to-side movement, but not as much as I think, or unless it's just a really stiff joint. But we do have a side-to-side movement, so that's that. And now, before I go to the arms, there is some part I do want to point out, is that I'm not really too sure what it does. So let me just get the backpack off as well, just to show you guys a better idea. So the arms, for the shoulders, so you do have your typical forward and backward movement going on here. But this section right over here where I'm grabbing, this can move forward and backward as well. So I'm not sure this actually affects the articulation. But yeah, I'm really not sure. It doesn't, and the manual doesn't really do a good job mentioning what this does exactly. But still, it's there, and I can definitely tell there is some locking mechanism right over here as well for it not to pull out entirely. But if I do this, oops, there we go. You can come out a little bit more. I can jiggle it out a little bit more. So I think that's pretty much it. But kind of an interesting gimmick that I haven't seen in other kits. And you can move the arms a bit to the side 90 degrees, and then rotating the arm is possible as well. And I would like to mention that the shoulder and the arm itself are separate pieces, so the shoulder and the arm moves separately. We have the flap here, which is pretty stiff for a flap, and then the lower arm can go 360 like that, and then we have a nice bend going on the arm. And as I mentioned, there is no polycaps here, so despite that, so the hands are your typical ball jointed hands, but no polycaps inside. It may look like a polycap, but no, it's just pure plastic. So you need to push it in all the way through. So if it's slightly out, which is not too easy to happen, but if it's like this, it will pop off a little bit easily. And the fingers, for those who are asking, are the, as I show you guys, the hand finger parts are interchangeable finger parts. So yeah, which I do prefer this, because the moving articulated fingers, they get kind of annoying in the long run for me. So yeah, once again, that's a personal thing. And now, before we go to the legs, since we taken off the backpack, let's see what we got. So here is the back section that you'll be seeing, and here is the connection part. So these two parts move together, and as you can see, they're just two long pegs. And then if you look at the back, there's these two holes right over there. And then you just need to plug it in, so that's good. And now, as you can see, the plug here may look like it can move up and down, but once you actually have it in there, that connection or that movement doesn't really matter too much than you think. I mean, technically, you do have slight of movement, but it's like, you know, barely noticeable. So that's that. So let me just zoom out a little bit. There we go. So the backpack. So first of all, one of the first articulations regarding the backpack they mentioned is the extension. So you can actually pull out like that, and it extends. So if it's in this mode, you can actually move it to the back. Unlike this mode, you can't really move it to the back. So yeah, you have this moving wing section here. You can go to the front, but once it's technically, if it's on the backpack or on the back of the mobile suit, you can't really go to the front. So that's that. So you can move it like that, and then you can also extend the wings like this. So I believe without the extension, you are able to move it a little bit as well, or almost identical. So moving up and down is no problem as well, but you need to extend to move forward and backward like that. So it doesn't go exactly 90 degrees, but it's a good amount. And then after that, you can also open. So this is the opening gimmick. It's not as much as you think. So you can open this much, and then the bottom section can open up. So definitely, if you want to give it the extra thrust effect, you can definitely do that. So yeah, I think they did a pretty good job on the backpack. And as I mentioned here, everything you see is all color separated. The yellow, the gray, the light gray, the red. Everything you see here is all color separated pieces. Alright, so we've seen that. Now let's get the waist. So the waist section was pretty interesting. Was a very unique build. So usually what we would expect is that the front skirts, they would each have ball joints, and there will be just a joint here. We just push it back in here. But no, there's actually a whole round section here that has all the ball joints. So you just connect the ball joints to that as well. So so each of these are all separate movements and all color separated pieces. No stickers, no paint. And then they can move forward that much. The side skirts also move individually like that. And then back skirt also moves as well. And then we also have this section right over here, which I believe this is around, yeah, so this is fully closed up, and then you can move it up down like this to reveal an extra peg. So this is actually meant for weapon storage as well. So you can see, as I mentioned, these are one of those pegs and hole systems I was mentioning about. So for example, you can plug in the sword like that, and you're good to go. And technically these do rotate, but for the ones on the side skirt, they're kind of limited. So they can only rotate a certain amount of degrees. I'm trying to be very careful not to break anything, but right now it's not. Oh, there we go. So we can move up a little bit more and slightly more, and that's it. It won't rotate 360. So don't try to force it as well. So when you're first building this, just be aware how the pegs connect and which direction they connect into. So because or you're gonna have to like rotate them, and if you don't rotate them correctly, you might break something. There we go. And then here we have the other section here, which according to the manual is meant for the storage of the magazines. So this one you can just plug them in. Now this is the way how the manual mentions, but I just find this direction a little bit odd. So I never actually used such real things like these before, but shouldn't the magazines should be at the front section? But that's just me. So just wanted to point that out. So that's that. And now the leg gimmicks here. Once again, for the legs, we have one of these hinge systems where you can relocate or reposition the leg location, but I usually tend to put it on the middle, and then we have a nice side swivel going on here as well. And then the legs can go almost 90 degrees if it weren't for the side skirts. And then since they are on a peg, you can go about 90 degrees or slightly more to the front, and then back not so much because of the back skirt as well, blocking the way. But still, you get, depending on the location, you can kind of change the range of articulation as well. And then the bend wise, we have a nice bend going on here as well. And then the feet, they do not use any polycaps. They're all joints. There's no ball joints here. So we still get a nice decent pivot going on here. We get a nice forward and backward movement. And for the leg extra details, we have these flaps that move around. The front flap can also move. And then here is another hole that is meant for the weapons. So technically these are ones for the missile launchers on the legs, so you can just plug them in, and they do slightly rotate as well. So this one seems to be able to go 360 compared to the ones on the side skirts. So yeah, and technically speaking, so since that does fit as well, and then the gun does have the same peg as well, so you can put it on the leg if you want to do so, or this one is technically meant to go onto the back. Oops, sorry about that. To the back skirt like this. So this is the way how it's meant to be. But if you want to be like unique, you can always plug it onto the side, or whichever way you want. Even the sword can maybe go onto the legs if you want to do so, but for some reason. So yeah, we've seen the basics of the kit. So once again, I'll be right back with some demonstrations. Okay, I'm back with the first demonstration. So number one, as you can see, I pretty much stored every weapon onto the place that they're meant to be stored, except for this missile launcher. I just want to show you guys that you use the multi-purpose, and not the trigger finger, but the multi-purpose hand, meaning the hand meant for the sword as well, to hold the missile launcher like this. As I mentioned, the handle does slide out, so you can actually hold it with no problem as well. So it does hold on pretty well. And regarding the feet, I forgot to mention that despite the pivot as well, you also have a nice toe bend that goes to the front, not down. So this does help you with certain poses as well, but sometimes balancing the kit might get a little bit tricky, because with the wings on, sometimes you will notice after you buy this kit, how should I say this? When you're trying to balance the kit, the wing does actually take a good portion of the balance. So just wanted to point that out. And as I mentioned, the machine gun, as I showed on the previous part, was upside down, but as you can see, it's compatible with either this way or the other way around. So it is possible, and nothing really collides with the weapon storage. Of course, if I had to mention, the only part that does kind of collide would be the magazine with the backstock here, but I think you can always like kind of move the magazine a little bit to the front like that, and you should be good to go. So that's very nice. Alright, so we've seen that one. So now let's actually get some demonstrations on the real actual weapons that this guy actually uses more commonly in the show. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So currently I attached the proper regular weapons onto the hands, and they have no issues as well. So currently on the right hand I gave the machine gun, the left on for the sword. So the machine gun, let me just pop that out. So here is the hand. So once again, I think it works pretty well. There's no hole and peg. There's no peg or hole system on this one. So it might feel a little bit wobbly, but once you have it in the correct position, it actually holds it perfectly as well. And as I mentioned before, you are able to pop off the magazine, but I think this might have been a really nice game changer if there was an extra hand or like extra finger set that could hold the magazines properly. So the fully open hand cannot hold anything as well, and then the trigger finger and the multi-purpose hand, for example, cannot hold the magazine because of how fat the magazine is. So that's kind of a downside, but it's really nice to have that we actually have another extra gimmick for the magazines as well. Now, this isn't the first time seeing this, but it's good to know that this one has it. So yeah, and then for the sword, it's pretty much what you expect. The handle is more of a square rather than round, so the fingers actually wrap around the handle perfectly, which is why it's a perfect fit, and it's not really wobbly as well. So really love that. The handle isn't as long as you think, so which is why you don't have extra space to do a double hand pose, but still I'm very satisfied with it. And that's pretty much it for the review. So the only thing I can say about this is that for the Master Grade Mobile Ginn is that it does what a mass production type mobile suit does. It has all the qualities. The quality, even the build quality, is pretty much sufficient. I mean, technically, it's pretty much the same, around the same level as the Zappa Warriors, but very satisfying as well. Very compact and has everything in the frames, all the nice articulation, and really nice color separation as well. So I'm really excited to see what Premium Bandai variants that we will be seeing based on this kit as well. So yeah, if it's just the recolors of what I'm thinking it is, so I might skip on those, but if it's actually a very different variant with extra different equipment, I might actually try that out. Anyway, this was the review of the Master Grade Mobile Ginn. If you guys got any questions or requests, leave them comment below. I still have more stuff to buy and build and make reviews out, so please stay tuned. Until then, see you guys next time.